it's important as a business that you can make customers feel like that you care about them, you care about their situation, you've got their back. If they don't feel you caring about them, then they're going to pick one of your competitors many times, and so they have to have the experience of, I think, really feeling that they've got a friend in their attorney. But at the same time, one reason that I have a job, I think, is to infuse highly emotional situations with some logic and common sense. In other words, when emotions are running high and people are primarily interested in vindicating their principle, it's good to have a voice that says, look at this as a business decision, look at this as a problem that's costing you a great deal, and find the least expensive way to fix it.
Wow. I like how you say that, because really what you're saying is it more important to be right or to be less harmed? Because people being right sometimes isn't the easiest way to, even if I think I'm right, I'm innocent, or whatever that is, that might not necessarily be the right answer.
And litigants, they can choose their path. My ethical responsibility to them is to allow them to do that, is to give them competent advice, but allow them to make their own decision. But I think, especially as I've gotten older and I become more seasoned in the business, I have some very direct talks with a lot of clients if I feel like they're being foolish. And of course, the art is to help them understand the rationale of the advice without experiencing it as a personal affront or criticism.
So you don't start out the conversation, listen, stupid. That's not
breaking the law.
I appreciate how wrong you are right now, but
I'll give Steve this. He does get some of the trickier clients that we have come through for this exact reason. We call it Steve going into John Wayne mode.
Oh.
Okay, because he has a really good, and it's kind of funny when you watch him. He sits up, his whole posture changes when they gets these clients on. And he's like, okay, now knock it off. Here's what is going to happen.
Well, and on that topic, perhaps in our audience there will be people who are grappling with this very issue. They've got a problem with the law. They're looking for representation. They're trying to make a good decision about what lawyer they choose, and everybody wants to feel like they've made a good decision. But without getting too specific, some unsolicited advice that I would give people in that situation, understanding that people usually want unsolicited advice, even from a lawyer when they have a legal problem. They want to ask for it first. But there are certain members of the legal profession who I think have something of an unhealthy symbiotic relationship where they play into the client's passion in order to, they fuel the client's passion in order to win them over. And depending on the circumstances, very often they're not doing them a favor. Very often, I feel like at least, they should be the voice of reason, telling them to find another way out of this problem, rather than just
telling them they're right.
Yeah, and telling them they're right when they're not right. Like fueling their anger.
It's like a parent being a parent instead of a friend.
Yes.
You got to tell them when they're not right.
It's interesting though that if you take ego out of the equation, what do you want most? I want you to be honest with me. Please tell me the truth. But when I've got my ego involved and I think I'm right, this is what that other guy did, and that guy's a jerk. I want to get whatever. That would be a very difficult mind shift to make. Like when I was talking about being objective, that's really what I was talking about. Is like, I've got to bring you around because that's my job. The problem that I can see with your job is a lot of people don't want you to be honest with them.
Yeah, interesting point, because my own opinion, and recognizing I'm not a licensed therapist, I don't have a credential like that.
You should have one after 20 years.
But I think what life has taught me is that honesty and respect is the only legitimate foundation of any relationship. that you can't have human interaction that is a positive interaction without honesty and respect. But you can imagine, as you said, people come in to a lawyer's office, they've been in charge of the crime, whether it's a serious crime or not, but they're not really honest with their lawyer. Many of them, tell the lawyer what they think the lawyer needs to hear in order for the lawyer to go and do, what the client would like them to do. That's not every case, certainly, but it does happen not infrequently. And that's a problem because the lawyer, like a computer, it's not going to process the information in a way that's any better than the raw data itself.
Yeah.
If you put incorrect data in the computer, it's going to give you, it's going to compute you, give you a bad outcome. and conversely, it's also true, as I mentioned before, certain members of the profession, if they agree with the client, if they encourage them in a thinking error that they're having, or a pursuit that is inadvisable, or a strategy that's inadvisable, not only is that client not getting the benefit, of having good legal advice, this relationship is already in trouble. And as a client, I'm sure that nobody would want to, or they shouldn't want to be represented by a lawyer who's not having a good relationship with them.